Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a rare Saturday stream. I normally don't stream on Saturdays, but I'm getting ready for the Indy 500 tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon, I should say, and I thought it would be a great time to go ahead and get back to work on the IndyCar design that we were working on in our last stream earlier in the week, which was the Autolite and Fram design. So just to reiterate, my team C Squared Racing signed a contract this year with Autolite, and we are in the process of finalizing a deal with Fram. I guess I'll go ahead and announce that right here live on Twitch. Haven't signed anything yet, but it's pretty much the agreement's pretty much been made. So we're gonna go ahead and do an Autolite Fram. They're both owned by the same parent company, and they both have kind of the same sort of orange color scheme to them. So they look good together, obviously, because they've been the same company for a long time, even back when they were part of the Fram conglomerate. So the branding goes well together, and so we're going to do an Autolite Fram IndyCar, and we've already kind of got it started. We started it on Wednesday when we did our last stream. We can go ahead and bring up where we're at in that design, and here we are. This is right where I left off. I literally have not touched this since the last time, so if you watched the last stream, you didn't miss anything. I haven't even closed the window. It's literally exactly where I left the window. So we can actually just go and jump right into this, right where we left off. I may not have all of my assets up and open on my screen. I may have to go find some of those again. I actually just got home from the store. I decided that it's Memorial Day this weekend, and I wanted to put a new American flag on the side of my house. So I was redoing my flagpole hookups on the outside. I've got 2 flagpoles now, and I wanted to get a new American flag, and so I went to the store and just picked one up, and it looks really cool. So I'll probably post some pictures of that on social media. But I'm sure you've all seen an American flag before, but it's a Memorial Day weekend. I thought it was a good weekend to get that done. I want to get it done before tomorrow, since I'm going to be at the track all day tomorrow. So yes, in case you've been living under a rock, tomorrow, Sunday, is the Indianapolis 500, the 105th running, and I will be on pit road working with the track rescue team as I usually do. And this year I'm going to be in Takuma Sato's pit. So if anybody is watching tomorrow, go ahead and take a look at Takuma Sato's pit when he makes pit stops. And if the camera is wide enough, and a lot of times it's not, but if the camera is wide enough, or you can kind of see as he's pulling in, at the very back of his pit stall, you'll see that in every pit stall there's one fireman, and we're all dressed up in the same red and white fire suits with white helmets, and we're always wearing stuff over our face, fire hoods and things like that to protect us in case there's a fire. So you can't really see our faces, but there'll be one of us in every pit stall. And I'm going to be at the back of Takuma Sato's pit stall, right between him and James Hinchcliffe. So every time they come in to pit and take fuel, I'm going to be there ready with a fire extinguisher in case there's a fuel spill and there's a fire started, or if somebody gets hurt, then I'm there to respond to that as well. So generally we stand around all day and don't do anything, and that's a good day, because that means nothing happened bad. But that's what I'm going to be tomorrow. So I'm not going to have a lot of time tomorrow, so I kind of got to get everything done tonight. And I probably shouldn't be streaming. I probably should be getting my stuff done. But I wanted to do this, and I wanted to see if we could maybe finish this tonight. So I'm going to try and get through this. And then when we're done, I'll have to get a bunch of stuff done before I go to bed, because I have to be at the track at 6:30 in the morning, which means I have to leave the house very early. I live in Indianapolis, but it's still a bit of a drive to get to the track from where I live. It's a big city, and I got to drive across most of it to get to the track. So I got to be out of the house pretty early, which means I got to be up pretty early, which means I got to get all my stuff finished and get to bed. And I shouldn't be screwing around on the computer, but I'm doing it because I want to let you guys see this. And it's an IndyCar, and it's Indy 500 weekend, and it just seemed like it was the right thing to do. So I was going to finish this on Wednesday, but I think I'm going to do something different on Wednesday. I might also, by the way, stream Monday night just because I don't have a lot going on, and so I might go ahead and play something fun on Monday night. So Monday night, Wednesday night, Monday night's a maybe. Wednesday night is our regular night. So where we left this off is we were just starting to put some of the sponsors on. We kind of got the general look of how we wanted the car. We're kind of going with this orange, black, and white paint scheme. And right now we've got the Autolite sponsorship on the nose, right in front of the cockpit. And then we've got their 85th anniversary logo on the side pods. And then we were looking at the wings, and we were putting Fram on the wing. I think I want to put Fram on the wing, front wing, but I think I still want to keep Autolite on the rear wing. And I believe, and the rear wing is up here. Oh, I've already done that. I see. I haven't changed my mind, apparently. Autolite on the rear wing. I might want to make that black. We're going to wait and see how it looks. But this is the road course rear wing, and this is the speedway rear wing. And I think, I don't know. We're going to wait and see how it looks. But for right now, we'll leave it that way. But I might end up going and making those black. I think the Autolite logo just really pops on black. But the Fram logo, I think, looks good on the orange. So we'll see. Sometimes it looks good to have the front and the rear wings the same, but doesn't have to be. We can do whatever we want. I'd also like to have Fram as sort of the secondary sponsor on this car on the top of the side pod. Excuse me. And those are right here. This is the right side pod, the left side pod. So these are the right. So what'll happen is this edge right down here will line up with this edge here on the side. So that's for positioning. So we're going to I'm going to pull up. Now, the way I've got Streamlabs set up, because I noticed this when I watched back the video last time, is I don't have it set up so that it shows my whole desktop. It's only specifically showing the GIMP application. And even when I pull up a window in GIMP to like pull up a file to open up an asset or something like that, it doesn't show that. It only shows the main window. That's just kind of the way Streamlabs is. You got to tell it you want to show either the whole desktop or just a specific window. And I have it set just to show a specific window because that was just easy. So if I'm talking about opening a file and you don't see it on the screen, that's just because Streamlabs isn't showing it. But don't worry, I'm not seeing things. Not just yet, at least. But we're going to go in, and I'm going to do that right now. So right now I'm going to file and open as layers, and that opens up a window. And I don't think that, yeah, you can't see this window. But there is a window right here that's got all my files and things like that, of all the stuff that I can paste onto the screen. So, and it's just a typical directory window, just like if you were going to open up any file. It's got all the folders and things. It just looks like that. So if anybody's watching this video to get ideas on how to use GIMP, if there's nothing here complicated. It's just a regular open file window. But I'm going to navigate to where my logos are. If I can remember where I put those. Oh, I've got them in a folder called Spec Racer Ford logos because I was using the same graphics for our Spec Racer Ford design, which we started and finished in the last stream. So if you haven't seen that and you want to check out the special Spec Racer Ford livery that I did, which was a tribute to the 1968 Autolite Lead Wedge, which was an all-electric land speed record car that's raced on the Bonneville Salt Flats. Go check out the video on demand of that, and eventually I will get around to putting that on YouTube as well, as I will this one. So this will be on YouTube eventually as well. So I'm going to grab we said Fram, right? Right. Okay, I'm going to grab this Fram logo. Let that open. Oh, it's always so hard to see. Okay, it's up here. It's always so hard to see it. There we are. Now, this is the one I need to make. I really need to just make a white version of this. But let's see. Let's label this layer Fram top pod left. Later on, when you get a lot of graphics that you're pasting on, labeling these things clearly. Like I've got one here that's not labeled. Which one is that? I can't see what was selected. Oh, it's this Autolite logo. All right, so I'm going to go... We're going to relabel that one, because that's what happens is later on you got to go nudge something. After you check it out, something doesn't look right, you have to go fix it. Then you have to go figure out which layer it is. So we're going to say rear wing road course. Okay. All right. So, but we're going to work with this right now. I got to change the color. So we're active in that layer. I'm going to go to colors, map, and then exchange, color exchange. And we're going to select the orange. I'm going to say okay, and we're going to tell it we want it to be white. There we go. And we're going to say okay, and now we're going to scale this down. Oh, that didn't do what I wanted to do. All right, let's undo. We got to redo that map. Colors, map, color exchange. This is the problem with not being able to see it real well. And I could fix that, actually, by... where is it? Mask. If I turn off the mask, then I can... Well, it turns everything orange, but at least I can see everything now. It's a slightly darker shade of orange. Alright, so... let's grab that again. Okay. That's going to be white. Okay, but we got to play around with these thresholds. There we go. So we want to make sure we get the whole thing to turn white, not just parts of it. Because sometimes in these graphics there can be little gradients. It looks like it's all the same color, but it's not quite. So now we're going to move it. We're going to jump between moving and scaling to get it just right so that it fits on the pod and looks nice. I have thought, and it's still something I could always go back and do, about taking this 85th anniversary logo and making it really big and sort of having it wrap around the pod and kind of go up on top. The problem with that is that, you know, from a certain angle it looks cool, but from, you know, a side angle you only kind of see half the logo. And, you know, whenever you put logos on stuff for sponsors, you want to make sure that they look good from different angles. And you don't want a logo where part of it gets obscured if you're looking at it a certain way. So I'm always concerned about putting logos in places where they're visible and also making sure that they're recognizable and readable. So if it's a word like Fram, you want that word to be legible and readable in places. Otherwise, you're not really giving the brand the exposure that it needs. So I think that's good for now. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. And we're going to make this pod right. And we're going to switch to the rotate tool. All right, and then we're going to go back to drag. Well, actually, let's just go ahead and it's not too far to scroll up the screen. If you watched last time, the best way to make sure that something gets put exactly where you want it laterally, or if you're just translating it up or down or left or right, is just to use the keyboard and kind of hold down on the arrow key. And that way you know it's going straight up and it's not going to the left or the right. And that way it'll be exactly where you want it, at least in one dimension. Sometimes it doesn't matter because you can't always see both sides of the logo anyway. So if they're not quite right, it's okay. But on the top of the side pods, you know, from certain angles, you will see both of these. And if one of them's a little off compared to the other one, it can be noticeable. So you want to adjust for that. Something I do find though, sometimes is because like this logo, and this is the case with a lot of logos, they're not symmetrical. This is, you know, it's a word that's already not symmetrical. Plus it's slightly italicized. So because of that, I don't know how to say that word. Because it's italicized, it's sometimes, even when it is perfectly lined up, it doesn't look like it is. So sometimes I find myself adjusting logos a little bit so that they're not exactly in the right place, because to the eye, it looks like they are. So you want things to look right to the eye, even if, you know, someone were to hold a flat edge up to the screen and they'd say, hey, that's not exactly straight. But to the eye, it looks straight, and that's what's important. You want it to look right to the naked eye. So we'll see. Right now, we'll put it in the right position. And then we'll see later on, you know, how it looks. One thing I don't love about this is that the registered trademark logo, which obviously needs to be there, doesn't need to be that big. In real life, if this was a decal on a race car, you would not see it. You would not see the registered trademark logo that big. But for the graphics that we have available to us here, we're going to have to live with that a little bit. I could go in and paint that out. But I'll leave it in there because it is right to have it there. It's just that in real life that would be smaller and you really wouldn't see it when you looked at the car unless you were very, very close to the car. So, all right. So I think that's good. We need to look at the other front wings, right? Yeah. So these I think are the other front wings. So what we've got here is, I believe this is the Speedway front wings, and then this would be the front wings for the high downforce configuration, or what we generally you would use on road courses, and some ovals. They do use it on some ovals as well, short tracks where they want high downforce. So we'll go ahead and do that. I think we want to keep Fram on there. Now this is a little bit bigger surface than what the Speedway wings are, so we can use a little bit bigger logo. I don't want to take a small logo and then try and blow it up again because you lose resolution. But these logos that we used in the side pods are almost the right size. I think we can actually use those because I think it'll be a little bit smaller than those. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate one of those. And it's just one less thing I have to import. And we'll rename this Fram front wing road course. We can just call it that. We'll call them both that because we don't need to flip them around. So let's grab. Oh, I probably should have duplicated the other one that was right side up, because I believe these need to be flipped around. Whoop. There we go. Rotate. All right, now we got to scale it a little bit. Well, let's get it centered. All right. Now we want to scale. That looks pretty good, kind of centered. Maybe we want to end up making that a little bit bigger. Let's try making it a little bit bigger. Let's undo to there. Kind of use the keys to fine tune it. And like I said, I don't know exactly how this is going to lay out on the car. So when we export this the first time, we're going to find there's a bunch of stuff that isn't right where we want it. And we'll have to nudge it a bit. All right, so now we've duplicated this. So we're just going to click on it. And then we're just going to slide it over. All right, so we're going to go with that, and we'll see what it looks like, and then if we need to come back and adjust it a little bit, we can. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn this mask back on. I think that's looking good so far. I'm happy. Let's save it. We haven't saved since we started working on this. I'm going to save. So that's the main, I'll say the main areas that we're going to be putting graphics on. But you know, there's other sponsors. There's other smaller, minor sponsors that we want to make sure that we include too. And then there's, you know, we can put sponsors along the nose. We can put sponsors on the engine cover. You can put sponsors on the ends of the front wings. So there's all these different places that we can put sponsors, and we're going to utilize a lot of those. Let's go open his layers, pictures, saved pictures, and now we'll grab this logo with the gibberish name, and there we go. Now we got what we want. All right, so we'll label this Chevy logo, and this will be the one we put on the nose. And we will go ahead and scale this down considerably. Won't go all the way. We'll do that. That did a weird texture thing with it. Okay, fixed it. It made the texture on the inside of the centerpiece of the bow tie. It didn't shrink the texture down until I let go of it. All right, now we want to go to rotate, and we're going to rotate this so it's facing forward. We're going to click rotate to lock the rotation in. Then we're going to position it. We're going to position the right layer, not that. Oh, come on. Stop grabbing that. There we go. We're going to sort of nudge it to kind of where we want it. And then we're going to go back into scale. We're going to click on it. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. I held down shift and that lets you skew it, and I didn't want to do that. Alright, we'll fine tune it, get it kind of right in the middle. Move it up a little bit. Alright, there we go. We'll make it a Chevy. So sorry if you're a Honda person watching this, but we're going to make it a Chevy. We're not, you know, our team's not necessarily locked into brands. We race all different kinds of cars. I've driven Hondas and Chevys and Fords. So it's not, I'm not too, you know, married to any one particular maker manufacturer. Let's see. We could continue with this area. Let's just zoom in on this area here. So we've got the NTT IndyCar Series logo. We'll kind of keep that. That's something I think you want to just sort of stick with. But we've got our other logos here that we'll add in. So let's go grab, let's duplicate one of the Fram logos. Let's grab, which one's this? That one's that one right there. So let's duplicate this. And we'll rotate that. And then scale that way down. And then we can move that. We're going to scale it a little bit more. You don't want to scale more than you have to, because once you go back and try and upscale it, it does hurt the resolution. So you really want to keep it as big as you can until you're ready to go ahead and change it. All right, now we want to go, let's grab some of our other logos for our other sponsors. So we'll start to get into some other different companies here. Who have we got? We haven't done Carbon X. Let's go ahead and give some love to our Carbon X folks, and that logo is huge. So we want to go ahead and scale that a little bit, because that does not need to be that big. We need this to be a little guy. All right. No, stop. All right, I'm gonna bring you down here. Oh my God. I just want to scroll. Okay. Now we're going to rotate it. I think that looks good. And, you know, we can always, yeah, you see the minute I let go, it sort of downgrades the resolution quite a bit. So you really want to make sure that you don't go down too small, because if I try and make this big again, I don't get that resolution back. All right, let's go ahead and save real quick, because we haven't saved in a bit. And then we want to go back in. Let's grab another logo. And we've got, let's do our Performance Plus logo. And that's also another big guy. We'll bring you down and we'll resize this as well. Bigger is always better when you're starting. It's easy to make them small. Oh, nope, we don't want to scale. We want to rotate. And hit rotate. Now we want to drag this down. See, it's bigger than we want, but that's okay. It's easy to make it small now. Now we'll fine-tune the location. I think that looks about right. And then at some point here, we got to think about identifying our team and putting our team in. And then we may shovel these logos around a little bit so that they're a little more evenly spaced. I don't want to use that. I don't want to use the C Squared Racing logo we used in the other one. I want to use the one that's transparent. It doesn't have the background on it, I should say. So let's go back to a different folder here. And I'm going to pick a different logo. Let's try this one. Obviously way too big, and I might modify this one a little bit. Say scale, and we'll shrink you way down. Okay. And then I'm going to rotate you to put you sideways. And we'll click rotate again. And we're going to kind of have this down sort of on the nose. So now that we've got it where we want it, we can scale it more precisely. We'll kind of do that. Let's turn this wireframe off because it's kind of making it hard to see what we want to do. That's better. That's kind of where we want it. Maybe a little bit smaller. I'll do this. And I don't know if I like the red. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the color map. I'm going to say colors, map, color exchange, and on this layer and this layer only. Nope, that's not what I want to do. I want to get that exact red. And we're going to make it white. And see what looks good there. That looks pretty good. That way the logo doesn't blend in. And when we designed this logo, we designed it so that you could kind of play with the colors a little bit, so that they wouldn't clash with sponsors and things like that. So we're gonna move these around a bit now, so that each logo gets a little bit more space. Give the NTT logo a little bit more room. All right, I think that looks good. And if we zoom out, I think that looks good. I think if we put any more on there, it'd be a little cluttered. I might make that Performance Plus logo a little smaller. Sorry guys, I'm gonna make your logo a little smaller. But it's for the greater good. It's to make it look even better. Now I'm gonna turn wireframe on so I can make sure it's centered. I think that's about right. Okay. So I think that looks good for the nose. I'm happy with that. And, you know, we'll see. There's a possibility we could always put some stuff down here on the side. But, you know, we don't have a ton of sponsors. Which is, you know, a bad thing if you need funding, but it's a good thing if you're running out of space for logos. So, you know, sometimes it looks cleaner really only using these high visibility areas and not cluttering up the car with a lot of stuff. But if you're a team that's fortunate enough to have a lot of supporters, you want to make sure that you get everybody in there, and the side of the nose is an area where you'll see some different logos kind of snuck in sometimes. But we're going to leave that the way that is, and we're going to let those companies kind of stand alone. And just let the sort of the design of this paint scheme sort of come through on the side without putting logos on top of it. Okay, so I think the nose is done. Let's go ahead and save. Where are we at? We're about 50-something minutes in. Oh, hey, there's somebody in chat. Hi, Mini Boy. How are you? Welcome to the me finishing, hopefully finishing this paint scheme we're doing. Apologize, I didn't mean to ignore you. If you have any input, you know, I'm always happy to take suggestions. So if you're enjoying the stream and you got some ideas, or you think something looks a little lousy, or you think I should do something different, go ahead and shout out. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this on stream here, is so anybody that's watching can throw in their 2 cents and say, hey, Jason, that looks like absolute garbage, and you should make this car purple and pink and whatever. And I may ignore you, but I'm always happy to get any suggestions from anybody who's watching. So, but mostly I just want people to, you know, to see what we're doing and hopefully get inspired and realize that it's not as intimidating as sometimes it looks. And because we're using free software. GIMP is free software you can download. And you don't have to have Photoshop. And it's not that hard. It's just copying and pasting logos. And we're using the basic templates that iRacing will output. And that you get whenever you load one of the files. You get all these pre-made templates, and we're just kind of showing everybody, you know, here's how you just change the colors and add and remove things and add your own sponsors, and you can come up with a completely original looking design that looks totally custom. And it doesn't take a ton of effort. You don't have to be a graphic design expert. So that's what we're doing here. So what I want to do next now is start to work on the back half of the car. So we've got the engine cover that I said I wanted to make some use out of. And then I also have this fairing area that's behind the wheels. So let's go ahead and excuse me, let's work on the fairing a little bit. Now we have the fairings are slightly different between the on the IndyCar model between the Speedway and the road course version. So we have one set of fairings here, and then if you scroll up here where a lot of the road course stuff is, you'll see that there's these fairings repeated, and then these are the tops. And they do look a little differently, and the stuff lays on them a little differently. So we're going to go ahead and work on that a little bit. So we're going to put some Chevy branding, and then also put some of our sponsors, and also put some of our team branding. So for instance, that C Squared Racing logo we just did, you know, we'll put that on there as well. So we're going to copy some of the logos that we just used. And what do we want to start with? Let's do that. Let's find that Chevy logo. Did we not rename that one? Oh, where did that one get put? That one got put someplace weird, didn't it? Because I can't see it. Chevy logo nose. Okay, there it is. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and duplicate that layer. And we're going to use our move tool, and we're going to move that. Let's work down here on this one. I'm going to move it down here. We'll switch to rotate, hold down shift to snap. We like that angle. Click rotate in the window to make sure that it stays put. And then we're going to switch back to the move tool and position that kind of right where we want it. Let's see. We'll turn off the wireframe for now. Well, actually, I need that on because I need to see this green line, because if I were to move this up here and it goes over this green line, it's not going to show, because this green line eventually stitches to this green line. In fact, you can see this little notch here will meet up with this little notch in the green line here. It's easier to see here. That one will meet up with that one. So what'll happen is this part of the logo that's outside the green line will just not show up. So that's where the wireframe becomes really handy. So you really need to make sure that it's inside that line. Question then becomes, how big do you want to make it? I think I want to make it a little smaller now. I'm not sure if there's actual standards for how big these logos are. I imagine Chevrolet says, hey, our logo has to be this size. There's probably set decals that they have to use. But I don't have to do anything that I don't want to. So, okay, now we want to repeat this one. And we want to put it up here. So we're going to do another copy. Let's relabel this one. We're going to say Chevy Speedway fairing left. And let's duplicate, not delete, duplicate, layer. Can't see where I'm typing. Wow, I typed that. How does it say copy? There we go. Left. Okay, so right. So we'll activate that. And we're going to click on the move tool. Make sure we have the layer selected. And then we're going to slowly rotate it up. Or translate it up, I should say. So how's everyone doing in chat? I know I don't have the chat shown on the screen because there's a lot of stuff going on here, and I want people to be able to see what's going on. But feel free to go ahead and speak your mind because I can see it. Anybody have any plans for Memorial Day weekend? Is anybody going to be watching the race? Let's go rotate. All right. Now we're kind of just comparing it to what we've got below to make sure that it's sort of in the right spot. Looks like it's about the same. And I think that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and save real quick. All right. All right. I like that. Now I want to add in the safety clean. We haven't put safety clean on the car at all yet, so let's put safety clean on. We want to give them some love. All right, we got their logo nice and big up here, and we're going to have to scale that down. All right. We're going to call this SK Speedway fairing left. All right, now let's go back to scale. Make sure that fits in between those logos. On my last IndyCar design, I was able to make this Safety Clean logo a lot bigger, but I didn't have any other logo there. So they got the benefit of having extra room. I suppose we could. Should I move the Chevy logo up just a touch? Maybe we can do that. And then we can... I'm upsizing, which I said not to do, but it's just a little bit. I think we can get away with it. And I'll kind of use the Chevy logo to center it. Or I guess I could... Yeah, maybe it looks better centered off the other logo here. I don't know. What looks better? Kind of like that. Then maybe we can move the Chevy logo back a little bit too. Maybe like that. We can always, like I said, we can always move it later. We don't have to leave it this way. What did I do down here? Because I moved it. See, this is a case where I mentioned that sometimes, you know, because of there's an angle on this, the Chevy logo is not symmetrical. This one, because the angle works with this line here, I could move it a little bit more towards the back. I can't do it here because the angle works against me, and I'll cut off this corner of the logo. So I kind of have to leave it like that. Even though I think technically these logos are not in the same place really. So we'll leave it like that, but we'll go ahead and duplicate that safety clean layer. Say duplicate, we'll rename it fairing right. All right, and we're gonna rotate 180 degrees. And I think in this case, I can get away with just dragging it because I've got enough reference around it that I think I can get it. Oh my God. Make sure you have the right layer selected. All right. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Come on. Is it not gonna let me grab it now because I put it? Oh, come on. All right. It doesn't want to let me grab this logo. There we go. All right, we're going to stick it up there. And I know it looks like a pixelated mess, but that's okay. Whoop, nope, I didn't mean to do that. Just sort of comparing it. To there. To make sure I've got it in about the same spot. I think I do. Okay, I think that looks good. Now we do have to replicate that on these here as well. It's a little easier because these are both pointed the same way, so I don't have to do the 180 rotation. So I can essentially just take these graphics down here and just drag them up, and they should be at the right scale and everything already. So let's go ahead and do that. So we want to pick the ones that are right side up, which are these ones. So we're going to duplicate this one. We're going to rename this road course fairing left. And we're going to drag that up here, and we're not going to worry about getting it in just the right spot yet. And then we're going to duplicate that. Let's get it where we want it first. Let's not duplicate it just yet. Let's get the Chevy logo that's down there as well, and we're going to do a duplicate. Oh, that's still left, but it's going to be the road course. All right. We're going to grab that. We're going to slide that up here. All right, so now let's go up here and sort of get those the way we want them. More or less the way we had them on the other. All right, grab this and kind of just compare it to what we've got. See, does it look more or less right? I mean, you're not going to see these ever side by side because they're two different car models, but you want it to be consistent. Just because that's the right thing to do. Okay, so now that we've got that done, now we just need to replicate that on the other side. So that's pretty easy. So again, we duplicate, and rename it to the right side logo, and then we're going to make sure we have that selected. And we're just going to hold down our left key and slowly move this across the screen. Is this exciting? All right, let's get that about where we want it. That looks pretty good right there. All right. Well, I hope you had fun doing that, because we're going to do it again. I'm going to duplicate this layer. We're going to rename this one to the right side. You know, this does get a little tedious, I'm not going to lie, but the point is it's not difficult. This is about as difficult a model as you're ever going to do. It's not going to get harder than doing, much harder at least than doing an IndyCar. I mean, I haven't done some of the prototype cars. I suppose they might have some similar features, but I mean, these open wheel type, you know, whether it's a Formula One car or an Indy car, these are going to be the toughest models to do. Not because the techniques are any different, but just because you've got so many little bits and pieces that you have to identify and figure out where all the graphics go, and the graphic placement is going to be so key, as opposed to doing a NASCAR style body where you just got a giant area to work in and you can just make it as big and bright as you want it. And it's just a little bit easier. And I think that's why a lot of people, when they do these videos, these sort of how-to videos, they do NASCAR style because it's a lot easier. And that's why we started with the Spec Racer Ford in the last stream. Because it was just easier to show some of the basic techniques. So if this looks a little intimidating, go check out that last stream. Go check out the video on demand. You'll see it. But it's the same things. I mean, it really is the same techniques. There's really nothing special, or different, from what I'm doing. So, all right. So now we want to take this C Squared Racing logo. We want to put our team logo on the tops of these fairings. So let's find this logo here, and we're going to duplicate this layer. I mean, I'm just doing the same things over and over again. So we're going to start with the Speedway fairings. Speedway fairing left. And then we'll grab our move tool. We'll grab it and we will drag it down to where this top of this fairing is. And then the nice thing is they're oriented just the way you want them to be. So we're going to stick it right there. And we have more room here, so I'm just thinking, is there anything else I want to put there? What does it make sense? Well, let's not worry about it right this second. Let's go ahead and keep putting these logos where we want them. Because, yeah, you really got to be careful kind of where you put things. Because we've already got Fram on the top of that side pod. You got to think about where everything's going to actually be laid out. When this all gets stitched back together again. And what makes sense to put where. All right, so let's kind of move that in a little bit to get it about where it is based on the lines. Okay, I think that looks good. Kind of compare that to where it is in the other IndyCar design. I don't have the wireframe for this because I don't have the original model, actually. So, unfortunately, I can't see. But I think that's going to be okay based on where the wireframe is. And we can, like I said, we can always nudge it. That's why you go ahead and export. Let's go ahead and do another save. Because I think I want to put, we have the anniversary logo here, but I also think I want to have the regular Autolite logo visible, because I think it's important to use the regular logo, because the anniversary logo looks really cool and we want to celebrate 85 years of Autolite, but we also want to make sure that the Autolite brand is very upfront. So we want to celebrate the anniversary, but the branding in the anniversary logo is not that big. So we want to find a place on the car where we can have a nice big Autolite logo. So let's go ahead and open up a fresh version of that logo. All right, so we have that here, and we'll go ahead and scale. We won't scale all the way down just yet. We'll kind of get it where we want it. Now I'm kind of wondering, now that I kind of see this, would it look cool if it was oversized? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it would, actually. Yeah, maybe I don't want to do that. Sometimes it looks kind of cool to have a logo that almost looks too big for the car, but in this case, I'm not sure that's going to look the way I want it to when I'm done. So sometimes it's a great idea, but it doesn't work when you actually try it. I think we want to keep it sort of within a certain bound here. You want to make them as big as you can, but not so big that, again, they don't look good because they're obscured by something or because they're distorted in some way. Everything's got to be visible. Kind of like when we did the Spec Racer Ford. The logo, I wanted to make the Autolite logo bigger, but what ended up happening is it ended up stretching into the inside front wheel well, and it you just couldn't see it. It was basically obscured by the tire at that point, so we had to make the logo smaller to make it look better, which is not always what you want to do, but sometimes it's what you have to do, because it's all about making sure that the sponsor is shown in the best possible light. We didn't label our layer here, so we're going to do Autolite engine cover left. Let's see. This is going to be a pretty good sized logo, though. I'm actually thinking I can make this a little smaller. Again, just because I think it'll be a little bit more clear and it'll have a little room around it. You don't want it crowding other things. And kind of like that, maybe. I think that's good enough that we can sort of try it, see how it works. Duplicate that layer. And we're going to just do a 180 flip on this. We're going to go to our rotate tool. Hold down shift to snap. Lock it in by hitting rotate again. Go back to our move tool, click on it, and then we're just going to use the arrow key so that we don't worry about moving it left or right. I really wish you could make this quicker. I think there's probably another way to do this. In fact, I think I found another way to do it, but I don't remember. So we're going to put it there. I think that looks good. So now we'll have it sort of behind the cockpit on the engine cover. I think that'll look cool. But we'll see. If it doesn't, we can always change it. Let's go ahead and hit save. So now what do we think we want to do next? We got some options here. We could theoretically put something else here on the side pod because the Autolite logo doesn't take up a whole lot of room. We could also just make the Autolite logo a little bit bigger, but you still have this area here. But on the real car, it's not a great spot to use. So I'm not sure I want to put anything there. What about the area right underneath the cockpit? That's this area right here. I don't think anything you put there is going to have to be pretty small. Part of me kind of wants to go ahead and do an export. Let's do an export on this. So in order to do that, whenever you export, you have to go in here, and there's this whole list of layers that say turn off before exporting TGA. So we need to turn off all of this. And then you hit save to save the file. Sometimes it's actually nice when you're doing a check, partway through your project, to leave the wireframe on. The wireframe will be drawn onto the 3D model, but that sometimes if you know you're not done yet, sometimes it's nice to see the wireframe on the model, because that way it kind of helps show you where those lines fall in case you're not sure what the contour that the wireframe was showing was. You can kind of look at it on the car and go, oh, okay, I see that line is this edge here, and that can be helpful a lot of times. All right, so we're gonna go to our export menu, and I don't think you can see this, unfortunately. It's not going to bring that up, but it's like a save as window. But there's a box that says show all file types. Actually, no, you don't need to click that. I think you just need to make sure you're in the right folder, which we are. And I'm going to grab, it's already labeled Autolite 85th IR18 TGA, because it knows I want to do a TGA file. And I just click export. But you want to make sure it's a TGA file. That's what iRacing is going to read, and that's what you're going to load into Trading Paints. You get another dialog window that says, asks you to pick an origin, whether it's bottom left or top left. You don't do anything on that. Just hit export when you see that window pop up. All right, and now we have exported it. And now what we have to do is go into Trading Paints. So we're going to load this up. And let me see about bringing this up on the Twitch stream so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so I'll pop this up here. So now this is the Trading Paints window I'm in, and we're gonna go to Upload, select a paint file, and I'm gonna go to Documents. So right now I'm just in it brings up an open file window. And again, this isn't showing up on the stream, but it's just a regular open window, and it's just asking me to go to the place where I have the file stored. So I'm just navigating into My Documents folder, into iRacing, to Paint, and then it brings up all of your car files. You go to Dallara IR18, and then in there I see Autolite 85th IR18.tga, and I open that file up. And it's uploading the file now. And you see there it shows the map. And then it's going to ask me some questions. Right now we're going to say just me. We're not going to go live with this yet. I will make this available to anybody on Trading Paints that wants to download it once it's done. Now we're going to select Dallara IR18, and that is under the road course cars. Even though this is both road course and oval, they listed under road course. We're going to stick with sim stamp number. That's going to allow iRacing to put whatever number on the car you want, as opposed to putting your custom number on. Which you have to have Trading Paints Pro to do, but generally I think I always do the sim stamp number anyway, because that way when you get into an event, you don't have to worry about being assigned a number that doesn't match, and it's just easier. So we're going to say upload to my paints. And then it's going to tell us that everything is wonderful and successful. And there's our paint scheme. And then we're going to go down here and we're going to say the Dallara IR18 for my teams. Right now I've got the other C-Squared Racing livery that we did, but we're going to switch this. And I am going to, again, you just kind of do it the same thing, and you're just uploading the same file. Because I don't have it on the page yet. So we'll just go ahead and upload it, and success. And now that shows up as the file that I am going to actually be running with. So now I'm going to get out of Trading Paints, and I'm going to go back into iRacing. So we'll change the view to that. And you see, this was the default paint scheme that you get in iRacing, and now we're going to tell iRacing to go out and grab my custom scheme. So we're going to click this, and boom, there it is. And there's all the stuff that we did to it. So we didn't change any of the stripes or anything. So really, it's the, it doesn't change much graphics wise. But we could have decided that we didn't like, some of these, or wanted to change some of the colors, and we still may do that. We still reserve the right to go in and play around with it, but for demonstration purposes, I think, you can work with it. And I kind of like the way this looks. I don't think a whole lot needs to change, but you may decide, say on these end planes, it's like, I don't like the stripe look. I want this just to all be orange or all be black. You can do that. I'll probably will change this bit. I don't like this tricolor. So I may change that, but it all depends on, because it's a great place to put logos. So I might reverse these. Or maybe make both of these black and then put Autolite on there. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I think the Chevy logo maybe is a bit big. It wraps around more than I want it to, so I may make that a little smaller. Same with this Autolite logo. It wraps around a little bit more than I want it to, so we'll probably shrink that down. But I think these look okay. They could be a bit smaller, but I wouldn't change them too much. The 85th logo here looks okay. It could be, I think, a little bit bigger. Fram on the top, I think, looks good. That could maybe be a little bit bigger. I think there's some room there. The Autolite on the side that we just did doesn't look too bad. Could be a little bit bigger, so I might upscale all of these just a tad. I think we can get away with the resolution issues if we just go maybe a notch or two up. It shouldn't be too bad. But I like the placement. The Autolite on the rear wing looks pretty good. I don't have any qualms about that. The Chevy logo here is a little maybe high. Maybe I want to move that back down again, but that means that the Safety Clean logo needs to get a little smaller, but that's okay because they show up pretty well there. Even though it felt small when I put it on there, but it doesn't look that small on the car. It looks, it's the same size as this Autolite, really. The C-Squared Racing logo on here doesn't show up, which makes me wonder where that went, because I believe we had that. Oh, we didn't do it in the road course version, and that's what this is. So that's why that doesn't show up there. Okay. Unfortunately on this, you can't change it to the Speedway version. We can only look at the road course version, and I didn't do the C-Squared Racing logo there. So we still have to do that. I would have liked to have seen how the other one looked, because I'm going to match that, but I like a lot of how this looks. Again, I still don't know. Maybe I want to make this black. There's still, I think, some options that we can play with, but I honestly, I think everything looks pretty good. There's just some small things maybe that I would tweak, but that's not bad. Yeah, let's just go back into GIMP. How are we doing on time? An hour and a half in? We may not finish this time. But honestly, I think we're pretty close. I don't know if I would do another stream. I might just do another half hour of work on this and just kind of see where we get. And it's pretty good. I think at this point it's just little touches that we're going to do. So I don't know if it's worth doing a third stream on it. But let's do some of those things that we saw. So this Fram logo, let's get the right. There are so many things on here right now. Where's our top side pod? Top pod left. So let's make this just a hair bigger. Let's see, what can we use as a... Kind of go to that line. There's a little line there that we can kind of use as a guide. Why can't I? Where's the other one? Why can't I grab this one? Okay. Why are you giving me problems? Oh, it's way up here. How did I get up there? Okay. Oh, this one's going to look a little different because of that registered trademark. So we're going to kind of pretend the registered trademark part isn't there. So we're going to make it bigger, but we're going to base it off of the main part of the word. I think that looks... I don't know if that's... Is that the same? Man, if it's not, it's real hard to tell. I think this one maybe needs to be a touch smaller. I think that looks better. Okay, and now let's come over here and do the Autolites on this. I think we can make these just a touch bigger. Kind of using this scale to sort of... I'm using these numbers up here to get them as close as I can to each other. I think now I need to move it a little bit, though. Oh, come on. Let me move it. Why is it not? There we go. Let's see. All right. We'll do that. All right. We'll save. We also wanted to do these Autolite logos on the side pod maybe a little bit bigger. So that one we did early on. So that one's going to be way down here. Or is it? 85th on the right. Okay, so we're going to pick our resize tool. So that says 108, 114. Let's go 113, 120. We can try that. And do the same thing over here. One 120. Move it over a few notches a little bit. All right. I think that'll look a little bit better. And then we wanted to come down here and do these Chevy logos a little bit differently. And we still have to do the C-Squared Racing logo on the top of the fairing here that we didn't do before. All right, so let's start with down here. I think we said we wanted to move this down a bit. So let's find the Chevy logo. That's road course fairing, Chevy logos, Speedway fairing. There we go. All right, so let's just... What, are you going to stop letting me not select? All right, so let's kind of come down a little bit like that, which is kind of where it was originally. And then we'll just find the Safety Clean logo. And this we're just going to shrink a bit. Recenter it a bit. All right. Let me turn off the wireframe, see if I like that. I want to shrink that down a little bit more so it's not infringing on the other logos. Or conversely, so that the other logos aren't infringing on it. All right, so what did we end up? 48, 48. Okay, so let's come up here and kind of do the same one. Where's this one? Right here. Okay. Nope, too much. Okay. And all right, now we got to do this Chevy logo here. This is Speedway fairing right. There we go. Gonna bring that down to about there. All right, that looked good. Kind of just checking to make sure I have it where I want it. All right, I think that looks good. Let's save that. And now we got to do it all over again over here. All right, so now we got to pick these two. So now we're looking for the road course fairing. There we go. And we'll do the same resize here. Down to 48. Change that scale. And grab our move tool and kind of position it back where we want it. Now we're going to have to grab that Chevy logo and move that down as well so that it's consistent with the other version. Move that up just a tad. All right. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And move this guy down. And then grab that Safety Clean logo. Resize. Drop it down to 48. Grab our move tool. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. Is it in the right spot? Okay, I think that looks good. I like that. We'll save. And now we want to grab these Chevy logos. They're already at a scale I think we like. We're going to duplicate this layer. And we're going to say road course fairing. And it says right. I guess we could always make that the right one. Right one would be this side because I go by driver's right. Let's turn the wireframe back on. All right, and we're going to go back to our rotate tool. Hold shift to snap. Click rotate. Go back to our move tool. Grab it. And then we're going to fine tune where we have it. Kind of look at the other one for guidance. It's kind of close to the top. That's about, I think, where we had it. Okay, and now we're going to grab this and duplicate again. And we're going to go course fairing left. Let's fix that title while we're in there. All right, we're going to grab this with the move tool, and then we're just going to use the arrow key to go ahead and slide it over. We still have to do the end planes on the front wings. We haven't done that yet. I was going to put Autolite on those as well, since I've got Fram on the actual wing. Okay, so how's that look? I think that looks pretty good there. All right, we'll save it. Save frequently, never hurts. All right, so we're doing pretty good. I'm really excited to see how this is going to completely end up. Okay, we said we wanted to change the color on the front wing. Let's spend some time working on the front wings. We'll come back to these fairings because I'm going to put some more stuff there, but I don't know what I want to put there yet. So let's go back to this because I said I didn't really love the tricolor look. Now again, we have to sort of figure out what's what here. I don't know what this is up here. I don't know if that's I don't think that's the end plate. I think this is more, this is the same as these little mystery pieces that we don't know. What did I use on this car? So this was so these pieces here for the Speedway car, I believe. Or did it use these for both? It might have used these for both. This was our end planes for the front wing. So if we go back to the Fram design. Yeah, that's these. So that may end up being the same for both. So I may not have to worry about that here. We can always check it out. But I don't think that's duplicated anywhere. Oh, maybe it is. Hold on. Because there's, yes, it is. That's what these are. Okay, so there is, we do have to do that twice. So this is one of the front wing end planes, which is mirrored here. And then we also have these ones up here. I don't know which is which, so we'll just do them the same. And I'm not sure which is the road course and which is the Speedway. I'm going to guess this is the Speedway because it looks less substantial. The road course generally has a bigger, everything on the front wing is bigger because it's all about producing more downforce, where on the Speedway configuration, the focus is on lowering drag. So that's why the wings are, the rear wing for the road course is big, and then the Speedway is this little thin thing. So we have to do that still. But these are the different elements in the design, and I think it's got the way it is you've got the, okay, so this is the middle piece, and this is top, this is bottom. So they're all black on the bottom, which makes it difficult if it's black on top. But this is the piece that goes on the very top. So the way the wing is built, the way the elements are, is you have, this is the top, this is the middle, and then where we have the word Fram is the bottom. And I'm not sure what these are. I think, are they the side? Huh. Or are they part of the suspension? I'm not entirely sure what these pieces are, but we're going to ignore them. I don't think I did anything with them on this design. No, they're just gray. I think those, yeah, I'm not sure what these pieces are. Again, everything looks different when you flatten them out, but I know these pieces here are the top wing pieces, and I want to reverse these. I want to make these black and these white. So we're going to find out, we're going to get that active layer, and I think it's not base scheme. think maybe we just go with principal area. Yeah, and that kind of selects everything. And then we're going to go to this paint tool. And we're going to pick black. And we're going to select these pieces. And it's not letting me. Cannot modify the pixels of layer groups. Oh, I have to pick specifically the layer. So do I pick car pattern? Do I have to pick the actual car pattern? All right, so let's do that. And now let's... Yep, there it works. Okay, so now we've made those black. And now we want to switch to white. Or do I want to just leave them both black? I don't even know if I like the white at all. I think I kind of want to just keep them both black. I think I just like it that way. I think we're just going to keep them both black. Okay, so let's save that. And then I want to put Autolite on here. So we're just going to grab, instead of re-importing, let's close this window. Instead of re-importing, we're just going to grab Autolite logos that are already in the file that are at least the size that we want them to be. So yeah, we can use these, we'll use these engine cover graphics. That'll work. And we're going to duplicate that layer. And this is going to be Autolite front wing. We'll just call it front wing. And we're going to grab it and drag it kind of up here. And we'll put it here. And obviously it's too big. So we're going to go to our scale tool. And we're going to shrink it down. It's going to be a smaller logo. It's not going to be one of the main logos, but I think it'll look interesting. We're just going to kind of put it there. And then we're going to duplicate this. And we're going to grab that and we're just going to slide it over and duplicate it on the other side. There we go. And so now when you see it, it'll have Autolite and then it'll have Fram right below it. And so Fram's going to be the main thing on the wing, but it won't be the only logo. So we'll kind of have them both on there. And then, okay, let's save. And it won't be like that in the Speedway configuration, because in the Speedway configuration, you don't have those multiple elements. There is a secondary element, but it's not as prominent. So maybe I could come back in and do that later. But I think for right now, we're just going to leave it like that. Because you do have less area to work with when you're doing the when you're doing the Speedway version versus the road course version. And I honestly don't know exactly where I would position that logo. So I would have to play around with it a little bit to figure out where it goes on the Speedway wings. So we're just going to kind of leave it the way it is for now. And then, you know, like I said, we can always come back and change it later. Let's do the front wings, the end planes. We were going to put Autolite on those. So let's grab the... Let's see, how are these going to look on the engine cover? That does have to be flipped. So let's do a copy of this one. Autolite, front wing, and this is going to be the right-hand side, right? All right, so we'll take that and we'll drag it over here. Go to our scale tool. And this is another area where sometimes it looks like you're making it too small, but it's actually okay because just of how it fits in that area. It can get pretty tight, and the way the contours are, sometimes you don't want to have it overlap into certain areas. We can try that for now. Now to do the other side, we're going to copy this one and then rotate. Switch to our move tool, select the layer, and we're going to drag this one down. So this will be that little aerodynamic element that's on the edge of the wing that is vertical. So the front wing is the horizontal plane, but then they've got these little winglets that are on the end of them that provide some stabilizing side force. And I think they might help with vortice control. I'm getting into aerodynamic stuff now that you probably don't care about. But just to give you, but it's the little vertical end plane that's on the sides of the front wings. Okay, so now we got to figure out where I had it vertically. I think it was about there, actually. So that looks okay. And that's going to be the Speedway version, and then we need to replicate it over here. So I'm going to take that we just did, and I'm going to duplicate it again. And it's still going to be the left, but now we're going to do... I'm just going to call circuit. I didn't call the other one the Speedway, but... and we're going to drag this one. I think it was up here, right? Yeah. So whenever you see lines that are really close together, these wireframe lines, that's usually where there's some more extreme contour. And you tend to want to avoid that. So even though it looks like I'm not using all of the space, I want to kind of stay between this contour and this contour. Because I think that, you know, and it's the same size they are on the other wings. But I think what'll end up happening is it'll look better if I keep it there. I think that was something I learned from one of the other IndyCars, the only other IndyCar one that I did. But we're going to duplicate that now. So this will be road course, front wing, and right. And move tool, and whoops, I didn't mean to move it that way. Now we're just going to slide it over. We'll keep it right there. And if, you know, again, once we'll go and do an export before we end the stream. We'll do one last export and we'll see how it looks. And if we think it needs to be nudged one way or the other, we can always go ahead and do that. Maybe one more there. Okay. We're going to save. All right. So we've got those done. And I think I want to do... Maybe I want to do a little bit more... maybe Carbon X and Performance Plus exposure on here. So where's a good place for that stuff? We could always put Performance Plus on the engine cover because they're who makes the oil for our team. But we've also got this area on the fairing that we could use for some companies. Maybe we give Fram a little extra love on there. I think about like that. Maybe Fram and Carbon X there, and then have Performance Plus oil on the back of the engine cover up on the top. Maybe we can even angle it a little bit to make it follow that contour. Excuse me. So we'll do that next. We'll run a little bit long. You know what? I might just do that on the road course version. And then, excuse me, sorry about coughing. And then we'll export, because we're running a little long, and I do, as I mentioned, I actually have to do the real Indy 500 tomorrow, working on pit road. Oh, we didn't, adjust our logos on the nose. I'll do that. I can do that offline, or I don't know. Do I want to do another stream on this? I don't know. How much work do I really have left to do? I gotta like just tweak some stuff on the nose there, and I've got to do the fairings and the engine pot. I don't have a whole lot to do, and I'm gonna do most of it right now. Let's tell you what. Let's go ahead and save this now, because I think we've got some of the elements there that'll tell us where this is positioned. Actually, we'll do an export, and I'll finish it offline, and I'll make sure on our social media I'll share the final version. But that's really all we're gonna do. I'm just gonna nudge these logos a little bit. We already know that they're a little too big on the nose. I'm gonna add Carbon X, Fram, and Performance Plus logos in those couple little areas, but that's it. Otherwise, I think we're pretty much done, and then we may look at some of the stuff we just did and decide that we want to nudge some of that, but that's just cleanup stuff. That's just going back in and tweaking, and you've already seen me tweak that. So let's go ahead and save it like this. We're going to do one last export. We're going to do export to 85th. All right, we're going to do that. And then we're going to go back in. We're going to turn Trading Paints back on. All right, and let's go back up to, I don't think I can I reload right here? Oh, can I just do this? Upload paint, select file. I'm going to reload this. I'm going to wait for it to finish processing. There we go. Got it. I think I still have to redo it here too. I might be using Trading Paints wrong. So if I don't need to do it that way, let me know in the chat or in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. All right, and now we are going to go back into iRacing. Let's just kind of refresh it. All right, there we go. That's definitely the new model. So we've got the C Squared Racing logos on the top of the fairing, and I really actually like how those are. Those are just right. I like the Autolite logo a little bit better. That size. It actually could even be a little bit bigger on the bottom. I could stretch this back a little bit more, maybe. The Chevy logo, better. I think part of the problem is just this contour doesn't work well with the way the Chevy logo is there. It makes it look like the logo is right on the edge, but in fact it's not. But I don't know if I think I might just have to live with that. It's a little bit getting cut off there, so this one needs to move forward a little bit. This one's okay just because of the angle, but yeah, I think I may need to nudge that forward a bit. We didn't change any of the nose logos. Let's look at the front wing. I think that looks pretty good. It could be angled a little differently. It doesn't look straight, even though it is on the file. So maybe we could just nudge that a few degrees, and that may take some margin, some trial and error. Frame on the front wings is too big. I didn't notice that when I looked at this the first time. We didn't change it. That was like that the last export, but that's too big. We need to shrink that down a little bit. It just looks a little cluttered, and also these attachment points for the wings kind of get in the way. But the Autolite on this part looks really good. I think that looks fine. I don't think we need to change that one at all. I'm really happy with how that looks. So, yeah. So a couple little things need to change. So I'm going to do that offline. I'm going to finish this up kind of on my own when I've got some time. Maybe when I get home from the race tomorrow, I'll have some energy and I can fiddle with it a little bit more. That Fram logo could even be a little bit bigger. Maybe drag it towards the bottom a little bit. I don't want to make this any bigger. The Autolite anniversary logo is pretty good. Maybe nudge it forward a bit. but that's about the right size. I like the size that it's at. And you see it like at different angles, it's still visible. And at the point where that logo is not visible, then all the other Autolite everywhere else is visible. I mean, this thing just screams Autolite. But there's a lot of Fram on here too, and that's the thing. We're gonna add Fram on this part, so you're gonna see Fram on there too. Yeah, it's gonna be good. I think they're gonna like this paint scheme because we're doing this for them. We are actually sponsored by Fram and Autolite, and we haven't been running any of their colors because these are new deals, and I want to make sure that we give them some love. So we're gonna start running this paint scheme from now on. It's a little. The other paint scheme we had was very heavy on C² Racing, but it was also mainly Carbon X, and absolutely Carbon X is still a company that we support. But Fram and Autolite are a bigger sponsor for us, and so we want to make sure that they're front and center on this. But we still have the other paint scheme. Obviously we still get great support from Safety Clean, so we make sure that they're on all of our designs as well. And if you go into my Trading Paints page, it's under my name, Jason Camps. It's not under C² Racing, but you'll see that there's a lot of paint schemes where Carbon X is the primary sponsor, Safety Clean is the primary sponsor. I've got a Corvette design where Performance Plus is the primary sponsor. So we try and spread it around a little bit. But we didn't have any Autolite and Fram yet because those deals hadn't been signed yet when I made all those designs. So we want to make sure that now we start to put some designs out that reflect those new contracts that we have. And so we've got the Spec Racer Ford, and then we'll be able to show you the final version of this. But I honestly think this is pretty close. This is about 90% done. We're gonna add a couple more logos on here. Like I said, we'll make these a little smaller here because that looks a little cluttered. But we'll fix that. And I think this will be done pretty soon. I may also make these. A lot of times the logos that are on the nose are just sort of monotone. So maybe some of these logos down here will take some of the color out of. But I always hate doing that because I want to make sure I show the logos properly. But we'll see. We'll see what looks good. If I can leave them that way, I'll leave them that way. I think maybe if we just make them a touch smaller, I think it'll look a little less cluttered. There's a lot of logos on the front of this car compared to the back of the car. There's a lot of space back here, and here everything's sort of shoved together. So, that may be something that, we want to rectify by moving some things around. But for the most part, I think this looks pretty cool. I like the way this is coming out. So, yeah, I'm very proud to show this off to the folks at Fram and Autolite, and I hope they like it. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed the stream. If you're watching this on YouTube, we will post this up to YouTube later. If you're watching on YouTube, if you've enjoyed this and found it helpful, please give the video a like and hit the subscribe button, because that helps us out a ton. And that shows our sponsors, that shows companies like Fram and Autolite that you are watching the content, and that is a huge help for us and helps us when we try and reach out to other sponsors later on too. So we love doing this stuff. We would do it whether we were sponsored or not. But obviously, the more support that we get from companies, the better that we do, the more we can do. And a lot of what we do goes to help other drivers. A lot of the financial support that we get, we don't keep. We pass it on to some of our development programs, drivers that we're supporting. We keep enough to fund these efforts. The equipment that I have to use, that has to get paid for. The printing and making uniforms and stuff like that has to get paid for. But what we can flow down, we do flow down. So anything that helps us get sponsorship, get exposure, that helps us out a lot. If people want to subscribe to these videos, to give us subs and to pump money into these videos, you don't have to. That's not why we do this. I'm not doing this to make this is not part of how we planned on making an income. But just anybody out there that wants to make a donation or give us a sub or whatever it is, through the Twitch stream to put money into the stream, that money gets turned back to the team. We don't just keep, I don't take that and have a, go have dinner with it. I could do that certainly, but that's not what we do to it. I take that money and I put it back into the team. So you're not helping me per se. You're helping our drivers, and you're helping the kids that we help out with help with creating sponsorship proposals or finding places to go learn how to go kart racing, stuff like that. That's what you're helping. You're giving us more ability to go off and do that, because that money gets put into advertising and marketing and stuff like that helps us reach those people. So just know if that's something that you're interested in doing. I'm not going to go in here and ask people to sub. I'm not going to put a sub goal up on the screen. That's not what the stream is about. The stream is about me kind of sharing things that I enjoy, whether it's racing related or not, with you guys, and just letting you see a little bit about the things that I like and what I enjoy doing. And once in a while we'll do something like this where I can teach you how to do something. I hope this was somewhat educational, and that people were able to follow me. If not, by all means, say something in the chat, say something in the comments, say, hey, I need help understanding this, or what did you do here? How did that work? Or could you show us this? Please do that. Help direct me. And if it's something that people will find helpful, I'm more than happy to spend the time to go through it. And I can even help people offline. If it's just something you're working on, I can, we can chat offline and I can help you through stuff. Cause that's why I do this. I want to help people, and I want to share this with folks and help you guys, enjoy your passion, whether it's sim racing or real racing or whatever. But, that's going to be it for tonight, because like I said, I have to get ready. I work as a fireman at the Speedway, and I have to actually do the real Indy 500 tomorrow. And I have to be at the Speedway at 6:30, and I have to report and clock in at the firehouse at 7. And sometimes it takes 20-30 minutes to get from the parking lot to the firehouse, because it's a very large facility, and I have to wait for a truck to come around and pick us up. So that means that I've got to get up in the morning and get myself ready and pack all my equipment up and make myself lunch and all that stuff. So there's quite a bit to do. And locally here, it's about 10 minutes after 11 p.m. I should already be in bed, but I really wanted to stream tonight. I really wanted to try and finish this car, and we got almost done. We're about 90% of the way there. I just need to tweak a few things, but hopefully you've got a pretty good idea what the car is going to look like. I assure you the finished product will not be all that much different. It'll just be polished a little bit, but I won't do another stream on that because I don't think there's enough to do. But if people want to see me do more streams and more YouTube videos on things like livery designs, hey, let me know and suggest some stuff, and we'll see if we can do it. Maybe we'll try and do some more complicated designs where we take that template from iRacing and do more modifications to the base template, as opposed to just adding graphics to it, which is all we did here. Maybe we can play around with creating our own assets and putting in different stripe packages and things like that. I do have a whole folder full of design elements that we could take and come up with something, start with a blank slate instead of a template and create kind of our own little look. So maybe that's something we can do. I've got some ideas for a Corvette, an Autolite Fram Corvette, that's based on a design that was used for a t-shirt. I don't know if it was ever an actual car, because I've never found a picture of an actual car, but it was something that appeared on a t-shirt, and I thought it looked like a cool design. It was a Corvette. I think it was a C4 Corvette, and I think it'd be kind of cool maybe to do a C8 Corvette design that was sort of that same design. And I've got some asset packages that I downloaded that I think would help create some of those effects. It's a fairly simple design, but I think it would look kind of neat as another sort of retro-inspired tribute car. But that may be something we do in the future. So if you guys want to see that stuff, let me know. And we'll add it to the schedule. But I think, as I said, I might stream again Monday night, and I still plan on streaming again Wednesday night. And those streams will probably just be gaming. They probably won't be racing related. But if you guys want to hop on and, ask me questions about the race, what was it like being in the middle of it? Maybe I can even show you guys some inside footage if I'm able to get some video or some pictures. I could kind of show you guys what it was like and talk about it, and talk about my reactions about what happened. What I think. I don't know if I'll have a chance to watch the TV broadcast by then. But at least from my perspective of what was going on pit road, maybe I can talk about that. So if you guys want to, hop on, Monday night. If I'm online, again, no guarantees, but I would try to get online. And if not, Wednesday night, either night, I'd be more than happy to answer questions about what it was like being in the middle of the 105th running of the Indy 500. So, but I think I've dragged this outro out enough. I'm going to leave it at that and say goodnight to everybody. I'm going to go. I haven't even eaten dinner yet. I'm going to go grab something to eat. I'm going to start packing my stuff up and hopefully soon get to bed and rest up because I've got a big, long day tomorrow. It's the Indy 500. If you have a chance, watch it on TV. And I hope you guys enjoy. And if I don't talk to you again before the end of the weekend, please, everybody, enjoy your Memorial Day. Enjoy with your families. Be safe. Be good to each other. And I will see you guys the next time that I stream. Good night, everybody.